Hi, my name is Todd Willing. I'm Global Director for Ford Design for all trucks and SUVs. Yeah, we're very excited to share with you the work of the design team today on this morning here in Michigan. You know, the whole process of developing a Bronco is a very exciting one for a design team because it's such an iconic product when it comes to Ford vehicles. So not only have we got the core Bronco, but we've expanded the Bronco family with the extension of that, or the addition of the Bronco Sport, four-door super capable SUV. So what makes a Bronco a Bronco? Well, Bronco's made up of millions of different stories. It's that versatility and capability, the adventure that it enables for the owner, are absolutely key to the whole Bronco story. You know, some of the really key aspects of getting the imagery correct, and it's very specific for Bronco, are about defining the architecture and the graphics that enable the lifestyle and the capability of the product. So we all know that Bronco is an American icon, but it's got a very strong global following that's almost bordering on cult status. So very early on in the process of design, we solicited Ford's global design talent to make a contribution and really expand on the bandwidth at that early stage. And the Australian team in particular, where the culture of outdoor fun and adventure spirit is really strong, contributed a large amount in the foundational stages on interior theme and experience.
I'm Murray Callum, Vice President of Design for Ford. Well, I'm lucky enough to have a first generation Bronco, and a car I love, and we actually brought it into the studio to inspire the designers, but also to help them understand the sort of ethos of Bronco and how to get the design simplicity right, and just that real sort of feeling of sort of utility and practicalism at the same time in the visual design of the vehicle. We use different processes in designing this vehicle, and it's not just the normal sort of sketch period where you do the sort of sketch of the styling of the vehicle. This was very important to get the function of the vehicle right, so we used different techniques. We actually built a full-size foam model with removable fenders, removable doors, because we knew the utility aspect, and that aspect of interchangeability was really important for the vehicle. So we used a lot of different ways of thinking about the usability of the vehicle as opposed to the styling of the vehicle. I love driving my first generation Bronco, and I'm looking forward to driving this one as well. I haven't actually driven one yet, but I'm looking forward to that. I think it will. What I do like is the fact that we've really taken the essence of the first vehicle, but really brought it into the 21st century. And I think not just from a visual viewpoint, but also from a practicality viewpoint and a drivable viewpoint too.
I'm Bill Mangan, Chief Interior Designer.
My name is Ryan Olson, Interior Designer.
So this program, this was truly a journey that was grounded in human-centered design. We learned so much from ethnography. We had very specific real people, truly real people. We had Bianca, we had Seth, Alex, James, and Dave. People whose lifestyles, their stations in life were varied. Their stature, their behaviors, their needs, everything about them was different. So, but when we looked through that lens and we really saw them and what they valued most, it gave us a framework and chapters in which we could really get into, understand this vehicle and leverage at different points in the program. So, for example, Seth, he's one of our guys. He's a medic from Boston, right? And his lifestyle, it's off-roading, extreme off-roading. And to meet those needs, to make that architecture to fit his needs first, that really set up how big can this thing, how active, how capable, how durable should this vehicle be. So that helps up that powertrain, that framework of what this thing needed to ascend to. In parallel with the ethnography, understanding who these people were, we went to various events. We went to everything from a local event here in Michigan, the Bronco Takeover at Silver Lake, to King of Hammers out in Johnson Valley. And Ryan, you went multiple times. You went again this year.
Yeah.
Wild stuff's happening there, and not just like it's Burning Man for the off-road community. So
Yeah.
So to meet the needs of these various groups, what we found though that was distinctly Bronco between these different events, these people, was this need for modularity, this need for expression of for tactical expression. Can this vehicle take them where they need to go and meet their needs? Can it just for social or their emotional needs? Can it meet them there? So that ability to configure and make it their own for whatever aspect of their life they're wanting to share and amplify. That's what this vehicle is all about.
Yeah.
So
a lot of very different people, and the Bronco has to be able to suit all their needs, as Bill was saying.
Yeah.
Modularity was probably the key way that we achieved that, because the vehicle will evolve with the customer and over time.
Okay, so case in point, one area that I'll focus on here is the instrument panel. It's simple, it's wipeable, it's durable. We divide it into zones. So you see this front face, it has the text zone. This is where your screen is. It's protected. This front browse comes over it. The top layer was a very functional zone, brought in device area. Hero switches up top. And it's all framed by these signature, these IP grab handles right here. Notice these bolts. These bolts are clues, right? This tells you, oh yeah, it says it's Bronco stamped into it. This tells you that it's modular. While yes, these are bolted to the frame, these can be taken off. They can be modified by the person. But could you imagine like a carbon fiber one, machined aluminum, walnut? Someone's going to do it. So make it your own, and that gives our customers as well as our groundswell of partners in expanding the vehicle, the aftermarket vehicle world, room to truly modify and input into this vehicle. So this is just tip of the iceberg. This whole vehicle will expand in ways over the years that it's going to be truly memorable. But this shows that an example of that. So you can see even from outside, you see like the TPO overmold, the signature, the orange here. And we use that grip. It's very tactical. It's meant to be. Yes, it's an assist, but it's more than that. It's also when you're driving at speed and terrain, it gives you more. It gives you a sense of stability. When we saw at the Bronco takeover, you had people taking these roll bars with gauges and features and broad devices. You can bolt something to here, make up your own. This system is truly configurable and will be going forward. So this really gives a meaningful way for our customers and our partners to expand on this. It's open source. This vehicle is truly an open source vehicle that people are going to be able to meaningfully make their own, and not just with color changes, not just with stickers. This is going to be something that truly can be made in a agile way. DNA, that the question of what's the Bronco DNA for the interior? Well, yes, simple. It was more the ethos of it, but there's little clues to the past. We had a 66 Bronco instrument panel. We went to this place called the Bronco Graveyard in Brighton, Michigan. And there's just little things that make a Bronco. So there's like the off-center gauge, the brow, the prominent brow. The old one had a big piece cut out of a chicane that was effectively for the steering wheel hand clearance. We had the same thing here, same reason, but we've leaned into that. So we took that. This not only does that, this is a brow now which protects the 12-inch touchscreen. 12 inches is big. Bigger is better, right? It's better because we learned this from our off-roading partners at Johnson Valley. The guys we had some experts, guys that have raced and won, guys that know what they're doing, and they strap an iPad on there, and they have their specific sat nav applications, and they need that because it needs to be big, it needs to be prominent, it needs to be something that they can see at a glance and not be confused by it. So 12-inch screen, that's incredible just from a functional standpoint, especially at the highest level of off-roading.
Right. So as Bill was mentioning, modularity is kind of the name of the game on this interior, and we do that because we realize that we're not going to be able to provide everything that the customer is going to need. The vehicle changes over time and with the customer's needs. So places where we've expanded upon that modularity are, for instance, on the top of the instrument panel here, we have kind of a service layer that was designed for bring your own devices, right? As you can see here, we have an accessory rail system that plugs in to a hard, rigid attachment point down in the substructure of the instrument panel for things like GoPros, sat navs, things that we can't necessarily predict in the future that the customers are going to want to modify. It's something that we learned really well out in testing in Johnson Valley and Silver Lake Sand Dunes with some of our partners like Brad Lovell and whatnot. So, but with that, certain changes like that drive additional content, which is really the name of the game here as well, is you have a USB and a USB-C here so that you don't have your cords draped over your IP in the event of an emergency. So the hero switches, as Bill mentioned, up here on top, great because as you can see, I'm in the passenger seat. These are things that the driver and the co-pilot can operate in the event of emergency as well. So siliconized, wipeable, cleanable. It's essentially convertible, as you can see, so everything had to be considered, right? As you can all see, the doors are off of the vehicle. They're a whole crazy design story in themselves, but what this illustrates is the instrument panel grab handles here go straight back to the crosscar beam, incredibly rigid, and anywhere that there's a bolt that you see on this interior that says Bronco stamped into the head of it, that indicates modularity. So these are 2 bolts. You can take them off, replace them with whatever you want. Can be done by the customer without taking any of the hard trim off or anything like that. That was kind of necessitated by the fact that we have an airbag in the curtain here, so phenomenal safety in this vehicle, which you don't get in some other vehicles. So with this 3 points of contact, we ended up with the standardized center console handle and standardized IP handles as well, both of which feature a rubberized overmold. So they're nice and comfortable in your hand when you're in that off-road situation, right? Some other unique points on the vehicle are the washout rubberized floor. That's something we learned from all kinds of our partners out there, that these things get dirty. The top comes off, everyone's muddy. I remember getting into this thing when we were out testing in the desert, and it was a mess. But if you can just take a hose, spray it out, it's just a great solution. So we also have the overhead console up here where we have auxiliary switches. Again, this vehicle means different things to different people, so it's going to be used in a myriad of ways that we can't ever pretend to comprehend. What we can do on the entire vehicle is to provide the provision for customers to make it what they need or what they want. So we have 6 aux switches up top here, allowing for that modularity and the customers to customize their vehicle the way that they want it or desire it.
Hi, Missy. I'm the color and materials designer for the Bronco, and we have some really cool door bags to show you. So in case you haven't noticed in the million pictures on the internet, you can take the doors off your Bronco. So the cool thing about these bags is that they're water resistant for whatever happens when your roof is off, your doors are off. And they have these ergonomic handles all over the bag so you can get a grip on your doors. They're really easy to remove, but this just makes it a little bit easier to slide on and off your door. And it also has a soft brushed material on the inside, so when you have all your doors stored on your vehicle, they aren't knocking against each other, they aren't getting scratched. Your paint job will stay flawless, which is really great, and it'll keep your doors looking as good as they came. And then we also have a grip, sort of a grippy nylon material on the bottom as well. So that adds stability, it holds your door bags in place, and it keeps everything from rattling around in your trunk cargo area. And then if you notice, we also have a bunch of clips as well. So all your door and roof bags clip together to hold your doors in place. So it's really kind of as noiseless, as soundproofed as we could possibly make it, to kind of keep your journey really nice, convenient, kind of what you want. You don't want a lot of noise. And then the coolest part about these door bags is that they have a QR code on them. So when you scan the QR code, it'll take you to a Ford website to give you instructions on how to remove your door, how to put it back on. So no more like keeping a manual, flipping through a manual. We really tried to make these as user-friendly as possible. We know people don't typically like to keep their door bags when they have removable doors, but we think this is actually going to make your experience of taking your doors on and off a lot better in your journey wherever you take your Bronco.
I'm Marty Coons and I'm a creative exterior designer. I was in charge of overall body side, cabin, capable front end, modular front bumper, and rear end appearance. Bringing back an icon is not an easy task, especially one that's been dormant for 25 years. So we had to be really thoughtful. We had to talk to enthusiasts, experts, potential customers to get the right insights we needed to build the right vehicle for them. We started off by sketching around the 5 archetypal customers. And we sketched around their use cases, their pain points, their moments that brought them joy. And through that exercise, the modular concept really came up as something that became a guiding principle for our design process. We wanted to be able to offer fenders that could be unbolted and removed and upgraded at any time. So if the customer didn't like how the fender looked, or if they got damaged by going down a trail, they could be easily replaced and removed and be exactly what that customer wanted. The doors are also all removable. You can take all 4 doors off and put them in the trunk of the vehicle without having to leave your doors behind. And that really required us to push the limit of how thin we can make a door, because we needed to make sure that we could take all doors with us and not ask you to leave any of your doors behind. All of the roof panels are also made out of the lightest material that we could afford, because we didn't want the roof panels to become a deterrent for open air experience. Awkward, heavy to remove roof panels to limit your ability to have open air experience. Everything that we thought the customer would want to remove and personalize themselves, we designed it that way, and it became a guiding principle of how we thought about this vehicle. We made the body side as simple as possible to give the customer enough room to define their own vision of what they wanted a Bronco to be.
My name is Joe DiNatale. I'm a senior exterior designer on the Bronco team. I just want to go over a couple of the parts that I worked on that we went through and designed. This mirror is it's a cowl mounted mirror. It's a unique location. We originally wanted to have it on the door, but we moved away from that because the doors are removable, and those doors on specific models can be moved into the rear of the vehicle, all 4 doors on board for the 4-door. So that this mirror allows for that. It also has accessory access points, so you can put lights on there, GoPros, whatever you can kind of think of. There's the access points are available for your creativity. Another area that we focused a lot on is the fender flares being able to have a quick release. So when you're in tricky situations, you're off-roading, we wanted to make it easy for the customer to be able to remove these fenders and remove them in a way that's very effective. So they're quarter turn fasteners underneath. You just turn them, pull the fender off. If you decide to change the look of your vehicle, you can go off road without your fenders on there, so you don't damage them. We have other sizes for 35-inch tires and whatnot. So it's a very easily modified piece, functionality-wise, visually, and just an overall good for maintenance. The bumpers here, we have many different ones. The ones shown here is the modular bumper. Some of the other bumpers are a steel bumper, and we have sensors in those. It's just an all-around great bumper. The approach angles are very aggressive, and they're good for off-roading. These parts over here, where there's a portion that comes down here that's obviously removed here. Good for off-roading as well. You're not getting in the way of any rocks or anything that can be in that specific location there. So high capability bumper mixed with the fenders and the mirrors.
Hi, my name is Anthony Meyer. I'm exterior designer on the Bronco. On this vehicle in particular, we kind of did a lot less glamour renderings than we do on most of our other vehicles that we work on, and we spent a lot of time doing these comic book strips and storyboarding to try to get just a grasp of like the day in the life of whoever we were designing for. So we spent a lot of time doing these sketches, trying to figure out who they were, what they were doing with their vehicles, how they were using it, And the one that the bathtub or the roof concept basically came out of was Bianca. She was this a nanny in Southern California. So she was carting around kids all day, but then she'd also be going to the beach in the afternoon with her friends or going up in the mountains to go snowboarding. Basically, we were trying to capture the versatility of like what she does on a daily basis. And the bathtub feature, you know, it's not as beneficial to her as it is for the people that are riding the back seat with her friends. So basically, we wanted to make sure that we removed any obstructions from no matter like, you know, where you were inside the vehicle. You know, some of our competitors have a brace that goes above the driver's head basically. And I think one of the things that we noticed immediately when hopping in the back of that is that it's just right in your face. And I think by deleting it, you really free up a lot of that open air feel. It was kind of like, you know, easy open air, and like something that helps you connect with nature was just like one of the basics of what we were trying to do with the vehicle. So the tie downs basically came out of one of the other stories that we had. Initially it was all about kind of just creating an easy access point for like long items that you might be taking with you up the trail, whether it was like a kayak or a canoe, or I think in some instances we had, you know, like this vehicle has the limb risers on it to be able to get the trees and debris off of your windshield. We just wanted to make sure that we utilize these Bronco bolts to kind of give you a point of access to be able to bring your own accessory to wherever you need it. So we've got the accessory points on the hood hooks here. We've also got them like on the mirror arms here. There's like, you know, for your LEDs and stuff. There's also a bunch of stuff on top of the roof rack to be able to bolt into. So we just wanted to make sure that we offered up the versatility so that you can bring your own stuff with you. I think we had these 5 different stories, and basically out of those 5 stories, we found that people are using these vehicles in a lot of different ways, you know. And I think one thing that was really evident is the more accessory points and attachment points you can offer up, the easier it's going to be for people to be able to modify the vehicle to fit their lifestyle.
Hi everybody, my name is Robert Gilardi. I was the design manager on the interior of the Bronco, and I know that you've already gotten a lot of the stories from Bill Mangan and Ryan Olson on what we did on the front row cockpit, but we certainly focused a lot of our attention on the cargo area and places for accessories, which I'll go through in a few minutes. So what you're looking at right here is you're looking at this fold-out table. What we've done is we've built in attachments into the sheet metal of this swing gate so that you have an ability to put this or many other kinds of accessories on it. And when you get a 4-door, there's this really cool feature that's a slide-out tailgate. So we got a lot of feedback from our customers and from our expert panels about being able to open it up just like this. We're out here, you know, it's a little cold, but we're out here next to a lake, and if you want to kind of sit down and hang out, there's a slide-out tailgate that's super cool because it has a nice little Easter egg on it. Just like the tailgate on the first generation Bronco, we've got the same FORD letters that are in it, so it's just like having a tailgate on your original Bronco. It's a nice little piece of history. All right, one of the other cool things about the Bronco that we considered in the design process was obviously the doors, right? So this 2-door's got the door on, and you can see through the window, and you can see that that cactus gray 4-door show vehicle has got the doors off. But we had a really great idea. I'm sure you guys all saw this on the that cyber orange 2-door show vehicle, which is what we're calling the half door. And what that is it's the door, but it essentially has an opening here. Now, not only is it a really cool graphic that accentuates all of the lines on the body and relates to all of the shapes that we put into the grab handles and everywhere else, but the whole design team, we went out to King of Hammers. We went out to lots of different events with Bronco owners and enthusiasts like yourselves, and we saw that there was a real need to be able to have sort of a combination of having the sight lines that you get when the doors are off, but the ability to have the rest of the door on. So this is a really cool feature. It's a really great idea. It's on, it gives you sight lines out to what you're driving over, and if you really like it, send a note.
Hi, I'm Craig Metros. I'm the North American Truck and SUV Design Director. I was in charge of looking after both interior and exterior of the Ford Bronco. So from the start, you know, we really wanted to balance heritage with a modern SUV. You know, just enough to capture the spirit of the '66 Bronco. We never wanted to go too retro. In fact, we called it the R word. But again, we just wanted to capture enough of that spirit so that, you know, as soon as you saw the Ford Bronco, you recognized it as a Bronco, even if it didn't have any badging. The heritage aspect is just, you know, the overall shape, the overall proportion, attention to detail. You really notice it in some of the colorways and some of the material choices, both interior and exterior.
I'm Dan Kangas. I'm an exterior designer for Bronco. I'm going to be talking about the exterior lighting on Bronco as well as some of the wheels. So for the exterior lighting for the Bronco, first and foremost, we were inspired by some of the Bronco heritage. And I think that's immediately apparent if you compare the newest gen with the first gen Bronco. If you look at the first gen Bronco, that lighting signature, you've got a dominant circular lamp with a small rectangular chiclet of a turn signal. So graphically, we wanted to maintain a very strong circular and horizontal graphic for the lit signature of this vehicle. For our inspiration, we looked at off-road motorsport as well as off-road enthusiasts. Primarily, we were inspired by the King of the Hammers off-road race in Johnson Valley, California. A super grueling race. It's about 165 miles off-road between rock crawling and high-speed desert flatland racing. We spoke to some of the participants, the competitors, some of their race teams, as well as the enthusiasts at the race to get a sense in what those competitors need to complete the race as well as win the race. Another thing is that on off-road trails, exterior lighting not only helps you see where you're going, but it helps other people identify you by lit shape and color. So we wanted to give Bronco customers a lit signature that's very obvious, very obviously Bronco. Bronco tail lamps were heritage driven as well. They're very tall, slim lamps positioned very far outboard on the vehicles to give visibility around the spare tire. The lit signature itself is similar to the front graphic. You've got a circle of light that's interrupted by a horizontal element to give that feeling of encapsulated, interlocked feel of elements.
Hi, I'm Joe Seiler. I'm the senior designer in the Icon Studio for Interior. I'm going to talk about Easter eggs. Early on in the process of designing the Bronco and the Bronco Sport, we found that there was really good value in embellishing both of these vehicles with little graphic Easter eggs and surprise and delight features that the customer will find first initially and then over time as they get to know their truck, and it allows us to plumb the rich history of the Bronco and also help establish the new Bronco as the master of the wild. So we gathered the team together and started making a list of potential Easter eggs that we could add inside and outside all the vehicles. We had some wacky ideas and we had some really good ideas. During this process, the design studio put together a style guide, essentially specifying the appearance parameters for every Easter egg inside and outside the vehicle. As the list of Easter eggs started to gel, we found that they went into essentially two different categories, overt and covert. The overt ones, the customer will see pretty much as they use the vehicle every day, kind of like the max load on the trail site. And the covert ones are the ones we're not going to talk about because the customer's going to have to find them for themselves. But there are a bunch of them inside and out. It was an interesting process design-wise because many of the Easter eggs were placed in areas that are not considered Class A, meaning they're not typical surfaces that a designer would work with. We had to rely on engineering, manufacturing, and our component suppliers to help us create Easter eggs that were generally not finished surfaces. Design technical operations helped us lay the graphics and images on the surfaces, and it was a really fun process. And I think the customer is going to enjoy discovering them when they buy the vehicle, when they start servicing the vehicle, when they accessorize the vehicle, years from now, they'll probably, I don't know, maybe take off a wheel and find something. It was a fun process, and it just reinforces the fact that the Bronco is not just a vehicle. It's a companion that you'll be able to take off-road, you can take out in the wilderness, and have some fun with.
Hi, my name's Dean Carvis. I'm the exterior chief for components, and I looked after all of the lighting, the wheels and the badging for the vehicle, for the Broncos, for both the Bronco Sport and the Bronco. What I'm going to talk about now is actually the wheel designs, and we actually did a lot of research with this, looking at the customers, understanding what sort of products they use, taking a lot of interest in the components and tools they would have out in the campsites or wherever they would go for the vehicle. So we looked at the details of those and how those details would actually reflect back into the theme. And it came apparent that there's a couple of strategic viewpoints as you go through it. So you have the smaller wheels, obviously we're going from the 17 and we can go all the way up to 18, and that's the same for both the Bronco Sport and for the Bronco. So for both of these we want to make sure that there is a commonality in some of the design thematics. So when you have the lower end, so when you have the big bend, the styling was fairly similar. So when you go to the other wheels for the outer banks, there's also a similarity. So we were looking at how we could give for the outer banks, which is more the premium customer, so you get the more luxurious interior. You also get that same sort of feel for the wheels. So you'd have the machined outer faces and you'd have the largest wheels for that vehicle. But then when you move to the Badlands and to the more off-road capable, we wanted to start looking at the off-road vehicle wheels. So when we looked at, say, some of the King of Hammers where you've got the beadlock style themes, we wanted to capture some of that, right? We wanted to capture some of that real strength and integrity for the form language, and that's what we actually did for those series. So within what we're looking at now in the Big Bend, you can see that we've got the beadlock or the beauty ring for where you can actually apply a beadlock to it, and we created that section and strength to the wheels. So we've got that flow, and I think we're giving the customer a really good spread of wheel designs that suits their needs within each of the ranges.
I'm Dave Mahoney, design manager for the exterior badging, and I was pretty excited to be able to work on this. We did a lot of reference where we looked at some of the early Broncos, and we wanted to make sure that we kept that same feel when we did the badging for this. So instead of Ford, we've got Bronco on these, which leads into the iconic history of this vehicle. And we've done these in kind of bold letters, so they've got kind of a tough feel, but it's a little more modern than the original ones. So it goes more with the character of the vehicle. It's a little bit more refined, but also very strong.
Hi, I'm Marco Corchirosa. I'm a senior exterior badge designer for Ford, involved with the Bronco Pony exterior nomenclature. On the Pony, we wanted to draw a course upon the heritage that we had from the 60s and beyond, but we wanted to do it in a more modern kind of surfaced, sculpted way. We got a pose where the back legs are all the way brought back just before he launches into a kick. We had many discussions on how to make the hair a little more disheveled than, say, the Mustang Pony, and made the head look a little more angrier, a little more strenuous with the open mouth, but all in all, again, keeping with the heritage of the vehicle badging.
Hello, my name is Scott Anderson. I'm the interior design manager for the Bronco Sport program. I'm really excited to help you guys understand more about the Bronco Sport today. We really wanted to look at people's lifestyles, how they use their vehicles in this particular space. A big part of our design process was human-centered design and thinking about how users might actually use the vehicle to camp, fish, hike, mountain bike, mountain climb, really enabling them to have an activity and enjoy that activity and also relax from it when they're done with that activity. So we did a lot of initial work to do mock-ups, deep research into our customer use cases. We had designers around the globe mocking things up inside their vehicles. For example, one of our designers in Australia, Sasha, actually cardboard mocked up his whole Escape interior, put a GoPro on his head, drove around, used his coffee holder, his phone holder, put things in the back of the vehicle like his mountain bike to get ready for activities. And those are the kind of things we did as a process in the design team to understand what the interior needed to be for this lifestyle. With Bronco, it has to be adventure ready, has to be capable, and able to bring all your stuff with you easily, and also have enough rugged nature so that's cleanable and simple when you want to get ready for your work day and work week. So with the Bronco Sport interior, it's all about creating this juxtaposition of soft forms that are comfort focused for daily driving, but also having these really nice inset mechanical elements where all the technology and features go to help you enable your activity. So the whole pod of the instrument panel is about protecting the nav screen. It harkens back to the original Bronco, having the cutout and plan view around the gauge cluster, and the pod is like the original 66 Bronco. All the information for navigation and geocaching and breadcrumbing is in the nav system right in front and center. There's a small port underneath that for your phone to store it. All that insight was driven through research and through actually design thinking. We also have things like TPO rubberized floors and tie downs and a lot of features in the cargo deck we'll talk about next. But with the front compartment, the big piece of this was creating a space that enabled you to be comfortable, but also enable your technology and integration with that technology.
My name is Aaron Gould. I'm an interior designer at Ford Motor Company. I designed the interior for the Bronco Sport. A big part of this project was really, starting with the customer. That's the biggest part of design thinking is, who are we creating this product for? So when we looked at these people, it's the person who's creating, their life that they want to live. They're searching for the next camp spot. They're searching for the next PR. They're searching the next wave or mountain to climb. And when we saw what these people do with their vehicles, they bring a lot of gear with them, but they also want to feel like there's a refuge for them after they've climbed this mountain, swam in this cold river. They want to get in somewhere warm and inviting. A lot of what we learned early on, we did really rough mock-ups to see what the space felt like for the customer, and we really explored what we could do with the space that we had. We carried a lot of that through the rest of the interior to see, what type of gear does this person need? Do they have, climbing harnesses, surfboards, dogs, pets, whatever they have. We really wanted to create a space for all of that stuff to live, because a lot of these people really live out of their vehicle. This is what takes them to the base of the mountain, and it's a partner for all their adventures. So that was really important to us to keep in mind throughout the whole process.
Hi, my name is Donald Park. I'm the exterior design manager on the Bronco programs. I'm going to go over some of the design cues of the Bronco Sport here. The design direction was fairly straightforward. We want to carry over the family resemblance of the four-door Bronco, and I'm going to go over some of the common design cues found from its bigger brother. We have a very short front overhang for exceptional front approach angle. We have robust exposed toe hooks for time when you need to pull out your friend's Jeep out of a sticky situation. Simple and unadorned body side, flat and an upright greenhouse. Typically you don't see in vehicles in this segment. A very vertical rear end for more cargo space. A very short rear overhang for an aggressive rear departure angle. And also painted, unpainted bumpers, door lowers, wheel moldings, and side mirrors, because these are considered contact points of the vehicle when you're going off-roading. We provisioned very robust roof rack design to accommodate rooftop tent camping. Notice the safari style roofline, which offers a very unique silhouette of the vehicle, but also affords the customer available best-in-class interior space, as well as front and second row headroom. And best of all, the cargo area offers enough height so you could fit 2 standard mountain bikes stood up in the back.
For Bronco Sport front and rear end, we wanted to go with a heritage approach as well. For the grille, we have a very dominant rectangular grille up front. Within the grille is contained the headlamps and the bold Bronco text. The headlamps themselves are a circle of light interrupted with a strong horizontal reed of light. This plays into the interlocking graphics and the feel of components interlocking together securely. The Bronco Sport tail lamps are a little bit larger than the Bronco tail lamps because we didn't have the spare tire requirement. However, they are similar in the fact that it is an encirclement of light within it containing more technical details. With the Bronco Sport and the Bronco, our goal was to create a very strong icon to bring this brand back.
Hi, my name is Chris Chris Young, and I am a Senior Designer Interior for the Bronco Sport. Today I'd like to explain some of the features we're looking forward to encompass in this vehicle. So I'll hop on out here, and if you look inside, one of the things we're planning on doing is having a full versatility interior for items, including a hard back on the seats. So you push these down, and I'll push this down. You can kind of see, and I'll slide this up. This is fully removable 2.5. You can put something hard all the way through, which is nice. Now, if you see this, and I've had this in here, it acts as a good dam when the seats are up. So if you have items back here sliding forward, you don't have it hitting you in the back of the seat. This also slides up, comes forward, and we also have it so you can lock it in place as such. Now, the nice thing about this is you can, say if you're camping, or even if you're having a tailgate party, you can, I'll take off the hat here so you can see. Say this is a box, and you can put things up here, maybe it's for food, a little stereo, whatever, but you also have the area down here, because I find we found a lot of times when customers are using their vehicles, you have a lot of wasted space. You're putting things here, but then you can't put anything on top of it. So we wanted a 2-level system. Also, which is nice, you can slide on items underneath and still have usable space above it, which is nice. So one of the features we have in this vehicle also, and you can slide this forward, carabiner hooks are on the sides, so you can use for our straps. You put your hooks here, you have straps across, going down to these points right here. There's all kinds of things for the customer and to tie down their items. A lifestyle, depending on what it could be, anywhere from there's so many different customers and lifestyles. I mean, it could be from camping, it could be from grocery store, anything. So whatever they can use, we want to give them the versatility that they can use these items. And as I back out, one of the things I was saying, relaxing or tailgating, we even put in the bottle opener, which is nice. So you can just snap it off, sit on the tailgate again, like where I started, hop up here, do that, relax, put your arm here, all kinds of things you can do.
My name is Carrie Kennerly. I'm the lead color materials designer on the Bronco Sport program. Okay, in order for the Bronco Sport to be adventure certified, we had to look at other products, mostly high-end gear and accessories that the target customer would use that kind of inspired us for color materials breakups and color inspiration on this program. As you notice, there's many different colors in this bag. There's different colors and textures when you open up each product, and we really wanted to make sure that transferred into the Bronco Sport, and I think we did that successfully. In order for it to withstand the scratches and the pokes in the weather, this vehicle has a high-end vinyl. It also has a fabric that has a super repel added to it to withstand ketchup and mustard and snow and mud, making it really a lot more durable than your average SUV. So there is a Y pattern that was designed specially for this vehicle. You'll find it on the floor pan, you'll find it on the floor mats. It's even inside of the mat pockets. It has an added little color touch and a textural touch when you open up the mat pocket. And then it carries through from the front of the headlamps to the bottom of the vehicle to the cargo area that has many different sizes and scales of that Y texture that are either positive or negative depending on the usefulness to the customer, either to pool liquids or to help products stay in place.
I'm Paul Wraith, I'm the Chief Designer for Bronco, and we're here at Michigan Proving Ground. And I'm going to talk to you now about one of our customers who really had a very big influence over what we were going to do. This is a young 21-year-old nanny who lived in LA, and like any nanny, she was living in someone else's house, carrying someone else's children during the daytime. But when it came to the end of the day, like all nannies on the planet, she was off, and the vehicle needed to go from being trusted to being carefree. That was really important. And taking the doors off and opening the vehicle up was really critical to what she needed to do. We recognised the fact that there were some issues with her existing vehicle. First of all, when you take the doors off a other vehicle, like a Wrangler for example, the doors are really big. You've got to store them somewhere. You need a garage. Bianca lives in someone else's house. She hasn't got a garage. So we did something which is very different. First of all, we made the doors short by dropping the glass into the door. These are frameless doors, and then we went further than that. We made them easy to lift off and very light because she's kind of small. And then more than that, we actually allowed him to put them into the back of the vehicle. So then the vehicle can be stripped bare on the side and you can carry all 4 doors on board. That's a world first. We made that easier still because the electrical couplings were easy to remove from the door. And then finally we had to move the mirrors from the door and onto the body, just like here. And that's a kind of very unusual execution, but it allows the door to be very slim so that we can fit them on board. But also now it means that when she's driving, she's always got the mirrors on the vehicle, and that makes it safer for her and it makes it safer for everyone else around her. This is very difficult to achieve technically, but it was definitely worth it. Well, when you start designing or trying to redesign an icon, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of expectation. You know that you've got to get it. Well, on the Bronco program, it was intimidating in a way because there was just so much expectation for it. There's a lot of love for this vehicle. We needed to bring it back and do it right. But what made it more difficult for us was just how ambitious we wanted to be. There were so many things that we wanted to do. We had multiple target customers. They all had very, very different needs, and we had to manage all of those needs and all those expectations and be very ambitious all simultaneously within a compressed timeline.